So Zoun, he had a little bit of a rough end to the year there, but he actually has been coming back very strong in the beginning of this year. So I am very excited for this match either way. But I'm gonna have to say it's probably Dream 5-3.
All right, we'll see if that happens. Why don't you go ahead and get us started in this game with the introductions?
Sure thing. Spawning down here in the bottom position of Pillars of Gold, repping the dragon. He is Zoun.
And spawn here at the top right corner of the map is the red Terran player from the team of Good Game Gaming. It is Dream. I was about to introduce him as a Brave Star Gaming, but that just disbanded back in December, so he is on a new team.
Yeah, and he's got a couple of good teammates on there. You know, hanging out with Patience. That's always some good practice, especially versus Zoun. But yeah, you know, Zoun, we have a very aggressive Protoss player. He's been known to kind of get in your face early on. He also has a very solid late game. And I mean, even this is just like the annoying thing you see Protoss do, even on ladder. It just delays your racks for a couple of extra seconds. But I mean, Dream is already kind of returning the favor on the other side of the map.
With the stealthy engineering bay block. Now Zoun's gonna pull 4 probes here. I'm not sure. Usually, like I guess the best way to deal with this, I see some Protoss just Chrono Boost a Zealot to deal with it. Some pulls down some probes. It seems like Zoun has elected to go for the probe route here.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically in terms of cost effectiveness, just better because you're not wasting 100 minerals on that Zealot. And I mean, you don't really lose that much in terms of income. So that does delay it for a little bit, but Dream still doesn't have his own natural up, so he's not really taking advantage of this to get ahead economically. And you know, there's a couple of different things, a couple of different roads really that he can go for right now. As you know, from the way it's looking, he might even throw down some Hellions to start this off. That's been very popular with Terran players recently. And yeah, there we go.
We'll see if he throws down a starport. Doesn't look like any starport is out yet. Oh, actually, never mind. It's going to be a proxy starport. So we're going to see some possibly Hellion drops.
Yeah, this is solid because as long as you can keep those Hellions alive, it's very good early game damage, and it really does kind of stack up because this gets you around any sort of wall off, any sort of stalkers in the front, anything like that. Now, what Zoun's doing though is he does have a nice little counter coming up. He's going to go for a Phoenix build. Now that is very fun.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good against what Dream is going for. It allows the Phoenix to kind of take down the medevac and also lift up those Hellions, which it looks like he's going to lift up the first Hellion, and that is going to be a little bit troublesome, as usually you want 4 Hellions to kind of one-shot those probes, but with actually just barely saves that Hellion actually.
Yeah, but that's not going to be in action anytime soon. He's going to have to rely on these 3. Remember, it does take 3 to one-shot, so that's why you want to have that 4th in there, because otherwise you don't. If you lose one of these Hellions, you lose the ability to one-shot. Although, that being said, Zoun doesn't actually have a shield battery in his natural, you know? He's not really playing it that safe versus Dream right now.
Yeah, it looks like he is actually scattering his Phoenix to the left side and then just using his Adept on the parked at the natural just to protect it to the right side. But it looks like Dream is actually kind of halting the Hellion drop, not actually quite dropping in yet. And I'm expecting, or I'm guessing he's probably trying to find some kind of a distraction before he kind of goes in with those Hellions. But look at those Phoenix are hunting it down. It does find the medevac.
A beautiful play by Zoun right there. He gets that cleaned up, so now the Hellions are pretty much on a mad dash for freedom. I don't even think they're going to be able to make it out of there. So they're just going to try and get some damage done. Again, not really able to. And I mean, from here, it's pretty much just Dream has lost all map presence with that attack. So now he pretty much just has to sit back and power up. Now he does keep in mind he does have his third base on the way right now. He's getting the additional racks stim about maybe 30 to 40 seconds away from completing. So he's not in a bad spot per se. It's just okay. Never mind. That was pretty good.
There's some well hidden widow mines there behind the command center. Makes it a bit harder to spot on, but he does at least get out with 3 phoenixes, so not the end of the world.
Yeah, still, that's the kind of plays that you got to look out for his sound, because I mean these Phoenix are pretty much the only thing he has to kind of be aggressive right now as he kind of powers up into Colossus. So you do want to keep those alive because you're not really going to be pumping out any more of them. Now, a Dream is putting those Widow Mines in the perfect position. Look at that. Even Zoun having a laugh at that. This is fantastic play from Dream right now. Just playing tricky, tricky, tricky.
Yeah, now Zoun is probably thinking twice, like, should I just dive in here or should I just kind of fly around the outskirts of a Dream's bases? But yeah, right now he is teching to Colossus. He's getting that thermal lance, getting the charge upgrade as well as the +1 there. So Zoun looking to be in a pretty good shape so far.
Indeed, it looks like Dream's going to be doing his first big move out towards the third. We'll have to see if he does decide to attack off the back of this, because this is kind of the ideal time for that first big Terran push. There's not really that many Colossus. Templar Archives not done, Charge not done, upgrades non-existent. So really, as you're throwing down your third base, you want to kind of put that pressure on. You don't have to kill your opponent, but you just got to do something and not allow them to keep this power up going on.
Yeah, it seems like both players are just going to go ahead and macro up for the time being, kind of build up their army, get all the production buildings. You see on the production tab, Zoun getting those 5-6 gateways, preparing for an attack, it seems, as he is getting a Warp Prism as well. That's going to align pretty nicely with the charge upgrade, and this was a +1.
Now bear in mind, we have seen Protoss kind of skip the storm energy these days. I've seen a lot of Protoss recently just going for straight Archon, not really expending the gas with that additional AoE. So that makes it a little bit more important to keep those Colossus alive in the back, just to deal with the bio of Dream. Dream also has that little bit of a supply lead here, up 30 army supply. Upgrades still even, but that's going to change here in a little bit. So his kind of window for that evenness is going to falter, but I do like this. Kind of looks like he's setting up for double-pronged attacks with these medevac positionings.
Yeah, now he's got to be careful because there are a flock of Phoenixes out there. So if he drops, then it's going to be pretty hard to get out without the Phoenix hunting down those medevacs.
Oh yeah, that's a really good catch from Zoun right now. Really just good star sense on this kid. I can see why the Dragon picked him up. But yeah, I mean, Zoun already is, he's going to clean this up. He's also got that counterattack going in straight towards the natural pretty soon here. And I mean, Dream, he dropped so much supply losing those medevacs. This is just getting dicier as he lets Zoun kind of untouched get to the late game army comp.
Yeah, that's the danger of trying to drop against a Phoenix or a Protoss with a Phoenix. But he is going to actually get a nice snipe here on this 4th base, which is a nice pickup.
Yeah, he does sacrifice the units for it to make that happen. Zoun not really making that much right now, just remaking that Nexus. But we'll have to keep an eye on those upgrades and how they're going to affect the fight, because they're a little, just a bit quicker than Dream's right now. But, Dream, he has kind of seen his opponent, So he is dropping down that additional starport. He's got the Vikings on the way. The +1 attack for the Vikings. He's got ghosts. I don't know. Does he have? No, he doesn't have enhanced shockwaves. But here we go, Zoun. It's gonna have to see if he has just an overwhelming force right now, up over 30 supply, and I mean he's kiting away from the siege tanks. He's getting a good chunk of that bio to chase him, but he's just got to be very careful not to overextend. There is a lot riding on this attack.
Yeah, smartly though, he is trying to go away or walk away from the siege tank, but it's kind of parked right in between the second and the third base, and so it looks like Zoun is going to have to dive in here. A lot of the Archons actually tanking a lot of the blunt of the damage, and it looks like Zoun is going to force his way into this third base.
Just a little bit too much, you know. The Protoss Death Ball, it kind of died with when Legacy of the Void started out, but it is back in full force, as we can see in this game. New year, new Protoss Death Ball.
Oh, man. All right, here we go. He's going to go ahead and dive in here onto the natural base. A lot of SCVs here to kind of pick off, but he's got to be careful. There is a... Wait, actually, the rest of the army is actually went into the main base. So never mind. I thought he was going to prepare for a flank of some sort, but I think Zoun just has too much on the ground.
Yeah, you can kind of see he's trying not to engage too hard here because he is taking a bunch of those EMPs. So he's kind of just waiting for those Archons to recharge their shield energy. But you know, he's got to be careful. The reinforcements for Dream might be able to start pushing this back, but now that I look at the supply, never mind. GG. Zoun takes game number 1. Yeah. Very convincing fights there, I gotta say. If he can make it just as convincing in the next couple of games, then he's gonna do pretty well for himself in this series.
Yeah, definitely. That was a pretty nice start there for Zoun. Was a really kind of a typical standard TVP there. Nothing too crazy. And getting a nice solid win is always a great thing to start off a series.
Indeed. Yeah, I always think it's this little bit of a snowball with these longer series, you know? You always just got to win that first game and you set yourself for the rest of it. But looks like Dream waiting to get into the lobby here. But we are going to be going into something we all live in, because we are all in a yellow submarine.
Man, I'm just imagining SpongeBob SquarePants right now with that imagery right there. But I guess he's in a kind of a pineapple. Well, never mind. I guess that doesn't make sense. Anyhow, yeah, we are heading to submarine on game number 2, and Zoun. Let's see if Zoun can extend his lead to 2-0, or if Dream can tie up the series.
Indeed, indeed. The countdown has begun. The anticipation is building. And I know, and I'd like to thank you all for tuning in so far, as this is a pretty good start, I gotta say.
All right, here we go. You want to go ahead and introduce our first lovely player here?
I certainly can. Spawning up here in the top position. If a tree falls in the forest, it makes him. He is Zoun.
And spawning here at the bottom right corner of the map, it is the red Terran player. You do this at night when you sleep. He is Dream.
You know, I'm definitely going to get a ton of people just screaming, "That's not how you pronounce his name!"
Yeah.
Because I think it's some sort of a Korean pronunciation, like Zoun or Suaun or something like that. Someone told me before, but I just can't see it as anything other than Zoun.
Yeah, I think most people call him Zoun, but someone, I think, tweeted or told Artosis that the correct pronunciation was Jown, or something like that. And Artosis is like, yeah, no, I refuse to call him that. I'm going to call him Zoun from now on still.
Yeah, Size Matters giving us the rundown. Zoun. Thank you, Size. And yeah, you know, Dream, He's gonna start this out a little bit differently here. He's got that second racks coming down, so this is kind of a modified 2-1-1, which, by the way, Joun, oh, sorry, it's gonna be Zoun, has not seen yet.
All right. Yeah, it looks like. Oh, wait, let's just make sure. Double check. Yeah, has not scouted that double racks. So Zoun is probably like really confused. This is not a typical build that you see from a Terran player. Usually when they double racks Reaper, they would proxy it. So seeing that the racks is built at the main base, I mean Zoun is probably thinking like this might be a proxy factory somewhere.
Yeah, and you can kind of see the alarm bells have already started ringing. But this is actually pretty interesting, you know? You don't really see 2 or 3 racks Reaper um, versus Protoss, and I mean, it's not really fully committed. He's just making 3 of them before going into Marine production. But still, what an interesting way to
Yeah.
start things off.
For sure. I mean, I could understand the logic behind it, being that Submarine is a really short map. You can get your Reapers across the map a lot faster, so you know the proxying isn't as necessary. But we'll see how this goes. I mean, there is a shield battery in the natural, but very likely is that Dream will just bypass and go straight into the main base.
Yeah, and this is going to be pretty good for scouting information as well. The Stalkers kind of running yakety sacks around, trying to find and kill all the Reapers. Did he actually see the Twilight Counselor is my big question. He did, but I don't think he clicked on it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But it was pretty quick, so I don't think he clicked on it as well.
Yeah, but I mean, this what Dream's going for. This is one of those things where you don't really care what your opponent is going for. You really just have to focus on getting out enough production. You really just have to go for it, no matter what. Doesn't matter if your opponent's going for DTs. You just have to stick with the game plan here.
Yeah, it looks like a Dream is quickly transitioning from it, not finding as much damage as you would like. Gonna go ahead and just get that stim, or actually rather the concussor cells for a Marauder push of some sort. Doesn't look like, I don't think, yeah, stim and combat shield has not yet been researched, but it seems like he might want to go for a time attack with a tank and Marauders, which is gonna be pretty good against Blink Stalkers, actually.
That's like literally Blink Stalker counter 101 here. Literally everything that he's making is good versus Stalkers. So, I mean, if he can hit this timing before Immortal production really starts in earnest, that's going to be perfect. But the problem is that Joan can actually go for a bit of a backstab here, since he is going for a very aggressive blink timing himself. But it looks like 2 ships passing in the middle of daylight, as Stalker's going to be moving across the map right into the reinforcing army.
Oh man, these Stalkers are trying to look for it. He sees, because he does have the observer in the front, and he sees the kind of the pathing of the units, the unit rallies, and he sees that it was kind of going towards the top right side, so he was kind of searching for it. Unfortunately for Dream, the War Prism does spot his army, and now here we go. Some boys have actually been pulled.
Oh yeah, that's just going to be really good for reinforcing that position. If he can get a couple of bunkers now, good blinks. Gonna mitigate the damage, and now he's fighting within shield battery range, so he can overcharge that. Now, it's pretty much just buy time until you can get that Immortal out and break this position, but you have to be careful not to wait too long, because in the backfield, the first Immortal going to get right on top of the siege tanks, and that's actually going to take that down. So, a good start, but he's taking way so much damage with that siege tank in the front. Okay, good dive right there, but it's going to be a costly one for him as the Marauders now inside the bunker. This is do or die for Joan right now.
Oh, but the Immortal does pop out in time, and that's going to add a lot of firepower to this army. And with some nice Blink Stalkers, Micro, he might be able to break this and hold.
I was wondering what was killing SCVs, but it was just those SCVs in the front. But look at that. He loses a good chunk of his immortals. He's only got that one on red health, but he does hold. The question is, can he continue to hold here as the army of Dream just gets better and better? He has stim. He's got a really good Marauder production, and Zoun doesn't really have that much left in the tank here.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit behind in terms of the army supply there, but he does have the dirt base. So if he can kind of get that established, get that that robotics bay tech up and running, he might be able to stabilize and start surpassing Dream in terms of the economy. Looks like Dream is though halfway done with his third CC, so we should look for him to kind of start establishing that as well. All in all, I feel like it's still anyone's game.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And the thing is, Dream has stopped attacking, so he is giving Joan the time to, to kind of build up back again. We do see another small move out here, but we do have the hit squad just there to get those pickoffs and blink away. Good stuff. And yeah, I mean, Joan's been given the time to get back into it pretty nicely.
Yeah, I really would like to see Zoun though go for Charge Lot. I think Charge will be so good with against what Dream has right now. A lot of his army is in those Marauders and those tanks, and Charge Lot would be so good during those fights.
Yeah, keep in mind as well that there is no healing with this army, so every time he stims, that is it just gets worse and worse for his army. I still don't see medevac production, so this red-orange army, it's like a flag of a country that has red and orange on it. I don't know my geography. I went to public school. But yeah, look at that. Even just stimming for an observer is very dangerous with the Colossus out on the field with this Blink Stalker hit squad. It's just not the best situation here for Dream, and we finally see those medevacs. Thank you, free healthcare.
Don't we all wish for free healthcare? My goodness. Alright, looks like Zoun is going to go ahead and try to poke in, try to do or find any damage he can get. But with those tanks sieged up there, he's going to have to back out, and it looks like Zoun is going to go ahead and start just out macroing a Dream with an additional Nexus there, which is pretty smart because right now it's pretty hard to kind of break the Dream. And so if a Dream is playing so defensively, you want to just go ahead and just continue macroing like a beast.
Exactly. Yeah, he's doing pretty good for himself right now. If he can keep Dream contained, that's really going to be the best situation for him. Like you said, this is a really small map. So it's pretty easy to kind of reinforce an attacking army. So if you can keep the Terran bottled up, keep him from dropping, keep him from moving across the map, like, by the way, he's trying to do right now, then you're going to have a much better time kind of getting to that peak death ball that we saw in game number 1. Now, Zoun, he's still a little bit behind in terms of that army count, but I think it's the quality of his army that we have to look out for here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's got the 2 Colossus. He's adding in those Immortals, or the Immortal, and also got those Archons, which is gonna, as we saw before, did tank a lot of damage on Pillars of Gold. So we'll see how it goes during the engagement. But yeah, it's gonna definitely come down to kind of the positioning and also the quality of the army.
Small little zealot run by, just gonna clean up some of the 4th. We do see a small little run by of Dream's own here, but this is just the kind of start to a much larger attack. Jones still looking for kind of the perfect engagement angle here, but he does get forced into a recall by 3 Marines. A little bit overeager there, I gotta say.
Wait, hold up, Pastor. I think your headset is there's a lot of static noise all of a sudden.
Did it bork again?
Huh?
Bork again?
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's like static noises coming out whenever you talk. So I'm not sure
You're
if
okay.
it's not. I'm not sure if it's a cable thing or something. I'm not sure.
Uh,
Uh,
Go ahead and keep casting. I'll fix it.
all right, all right. Yeah, so we see Zoun does spot the expansion here from Dream, looking to kind of deny it though. But look at that, Dream already got the tank siege up, but only one tank, not scary amount of tanks, but scary enough for to push back Zoun for the time being. And somewhere, somehow, 5 SCVs did fall down. I'm sorry I missed that. I think it's probably the warp engine that was parked on the right side. It looks like it got cleaned up. Let me make sure. Actually, no, the warp prism is still alive. It actually flew to the right, to the left side.
Yeah, now we have a huge fight going on in the main base. Disruptor, or not the main base, but in the middle of the map, the Disruptor shot, just trying to keep this away. He does have enhanced shockwave, so those Archons need to stay in the back. You just don't want to lose the shields on those. Good Disruptor volley going to make sure that the siege up on the backside is no good. But we also do see Dream divide and conquer right now. This is the key Terran army that you'd like to see. Although I think he could have just fought that Disruptor there, but I digress. He's already on both locations. It's kind of getting forced back, but oh no, that shot was amazing.
That was such a juicy Disruptor shot. And now it looks like Zoun is actually holding off pretty decently on both ends, actually.
Yeah, it started out pretty good, but after that one big Disruptor shot, he just kind of lost all his momentum. Even losing a Ghost there to the Disruptor, that's very painful. And I feel like the only reason Dream has been losing these games is these couple of seconds where his supply has just plummeted for reasons outside of his control. Like, obviously, last game, he lost those 3 full medevacs. This game, Disruptor shots out the wazoo. And, I mean, he's still going to be able to hold on for a little bit here. I don't think Zoun has enough to finish this game out. There's just not really a lot. Never mind. There we go. That's it. Bye-bye. GG.
Oh, man. That was a pretty another juicy Disruptor hit. Dream, though, he is gonna try to hold on still, but out of a lot of tanks, only relying on bio units against the army that Zoun has, there's a lot of splash damage. The Archons, the Colossus, the Disruptors. That's a lot of splash damage units to deal with.
And keep in mind, they're also equal on upgrades, so that's actually a huge deal in this matchup, especially at this stage in the game. And I mean, there you go. 4 additional Archons coming in. Dream is going to have to get an amazing concave in order to make this work. And to his credit, he is setting up for that. We've got a couple of good EMPs over top a lot of those Archons. I don't know what those Disruptors were doing firing in the back there, but here we go. Dream is holding on for dear life. He finally has the army advantage once again. I mean, the question is, how far is Zoun actually going to attack into this here? He's got to wait for those Disruptors before he can really make that determination.
Yeah, a little bit of a dance here by Zoun and Dream. Dream trying to get that concave there, but yeah, it seems to be working decently. It looks like a lot of the front line were kind of obliterated. A lot of the, I guess one Colossus, 2 Archons, not that scary. So he's going to go ahead and force some additional warpings of charge lot. Dream slowly but surely kind of pulling himself back into this game.
I gotta say, it's always funny because you either get like the 4-minute proxy game on Submarine, or you get the longest maps in a tournament, which is the funniest thing on the shortest map.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Very insane. And I mean, Dream keeps putting himself not necessarily out of the fire pan just yet, but I mean, he's just been holding on for dear life. And I mean, Zoun, he keeps fighting into these positions where these siege tanks and Widow Mines just get the best splash on his entire army. These choke points are just brutal. And even here on the retreat, Zoun being flanked, his entire army is just gonna get jumped on. This is not good anymore for him, but he is just going to dive right on top. The EMP is coming down over a ton of those Archons, and the Zealot's going to start to fall as well. He's got to wait for more Warp-ins, but that just gives Dream more time to prepare for the next wave.
Yeah, the production is producing five, six ghosts at a time, 4 Marines as well. And Zoun, he's got to make a decision whether he wants to commit in or just kind of back out.
Enhanced shockwaves, man, I tell you, it's the MVP of this game for him.
Alright, now Zoun is going to have to go ahead and recall his army just to defend this little group of infantry units. Nice catch though. A lot of these medevacs actually very low on energy. So not the greatest loss, but still some losses there.
Yeah, you know, you never want to be remaking medevacs, but you also never want to be remaking next side. There's no recall for this base, so he's just going to dive right on top of the probes there. 14 of them going down. A disruptor, no good. So he will get the Nexus and is just going to be able to pick up and get on out of there as well. So really good damage here. This is the kind of Terran that we need to see out of Dream if he's going to win this series.
Yeah, this is when Dream is playing at his best, when he's kind of multi-prong harassing, being the one on the aggressive end and forcing his opponent to be on the defensive end as well. So I really like the kind of the plays here that Dream is executing in this past minute or so.
Indeed. He's got himself set up in a really nice position. Even going to get the cancel on the Nexus once again. And I mean, from here, we do see just this kind of back and forth. Joan never really having the army to kind of split up effectively here. Those ghosts, oh my goodness, how many does he have? He's got over 20 ghosts. That's almost as many ghosts as Marines right now.
Oh my god, that is a lot of ghosts. Maybe it's Halloween time, but I mean, Halloween just passed a few minutes ago or a few months ago.
It was a few minutes ago. Let's not be too crazy.
True that. I mean, at least for Zoun, because right now is a horrified scene here as all his Colossus are gonna go get sniped down there. Only a charge lot on the field left, and that is gonna be a GG coming out of Zoun. Dream will type the series 1-1.
I knew this was gonna be a good one. Like the Alpha Pro Series never fails to impress with their players. So, you know, really good start the first couple of games.
Yeah, for sure. Now we're heading into the third game with the tied series. It's going to be important to see which person breaks that tie and takes the momentum.
Yep, and it's going to be on Death Aura that we see our gladiators battle. We've got the go-go from both sides, so there is no point in delaying any further. We've got the countdown going.
Yep, countdown has begun. Death Aura will be our next map. Guys, type into the chat who you're rooting for, who you want to win this next game, who you got coming out of the series. Send your energy and love and appreciation to these players.
The match mod can change the skin. We could actually set the skins that we want the players to be shown as the referee. That's a fun little tidbit for you there. But I digress on that. Spawning down here in the bottom position of Death Aura. Had a rough game number 2, a beautiful game number 1. He is, for Alpha X, Zoun.
Alright, spawning here at the top left corner of the map is the red Terran player. Playing for Good Game Gaming. Has a nice 1-game win streak. Can he make it 2? It is Dream. Alright, so we're playing on Death Aura. Probably one of the more popular maps out there. I'm sure both players are very, very comfortable playing on this map.
Yeah. You know, this is... I don't want to say that this is the map that gets left behind when you're doing vetoes, but it's a pretty solid map. We do see players kind of choose it a lot just because it's a more standard macro map. There's a good medley of bases so that you're not stuck in just one path towards your third and fourth. And I mean, from both sides here, we haven't really seen anything too crazy, not that many shenanigans to start things off. As the games go on, do you think we're going to see a little bit more crazy stuff pop out?
I mean, in a series like this, where it's a 9-game series, I would probably expect that maybe one of them will kind of bring out a little bit of a cheese in at least one of the games, right? Maybe in a best of 3, you wouldn't see that as often, or even a best of 5. But once we get to like best of 7 and best of 9 territory, it's always a good thing to kind of mix it in, just kind of add it in. Maybe if you're like leading the series like 4-1, that's a good point to kind of pull it out. But we'll see. We'll see if either of these players pulls out something crazy in the beginning of the game.
I do like this. It's pretty much a Mexican standoff here, and the Adept blinks first. The Reaper's gonna actually have a moment here before that shield batter comes in, so he's just gonna be a little bit of a nuisance. Even gonna get a scout out of that Stargate, so he is gonna be very happy with himself right there.
Yeah, this Reaper doing some nice work, but the Adept on the other side from Zoun. Actually, even the probe joining in the fight. Look at that probe go.
Nice. Like that was really good micro there. Gonna save the SCV and kill the probe there, but there's actually nothing to fight this Adept right now.
Yeah. Well, looks like the Hellion is finally gonna pop out. But let's keep a look at the production tab. Oracle is being made. Killing off some of those Marines is going to actually help against kind of decrease the amount of Marines to better utilize that Oracle, as that Oracle can probably get some SCV damage. But on the meantime, there's going to be a Adept hunt. It looks like that not the Adept, the Reaper hunt. It looks like the Reaper will get away for the time being.
As you say that, he goes in to join up with his Hellion buddy. Already 2 probes falling. Can he get a third? That would be pretty nice. He does get it. So now it's down to Zoun to see if he can actually get a little bit of counter damage done here. But, Dream's playing it very safe, even getting that Cyclone. Will he throw the scan down to clean it up? No, he does not. So the Oracle will get out.
Yeah, I really like Dream's reaction. I think scouting like multiple Adepts, that's kind of a good indicator that the Protoss went for air tech. And so getting that Cyclone just to be extra safe, that was a really good choice there. But now he's got to deal with these 3 Adepts, and as well as this, the second Oracle.
Yeah, the Viking is going to help out a lot with that. The SCVs get the surround as well, so beautiful hold right there. Zoun does have that kind of standard 5-worker lead that you would see at this point for Protoss, just because they do have that chrono boost. But now it looks like Dream is just looking to expand his territory. He wants to stay active out on the map just to make sure that nothing's going to be coming his way for the next couple of minutes here. So yeah, that's just kind of just a defensive move out with the Cyclone and the Viking, kind of just chilling out until he gets his third base up and running.
Yeah, sometimes you see the Protoss kind of, when they go air units, they have to they leave it alone and just go back to building stuff. So, pulling the Cyclone and Viking out there just to maybe possibly intercept any just kind of Oracles just chilling around. That would be a pretty nice pickoff. Unfortunately, the Oracle did make its way back at home, so wasn't able to find anything. But I don't mind it. I love him just being active with that Cyclone and Viking.
Indeed. Now both sides just kind of powering up a little bit here, so we really shouldn't see too much action in the next minute or so.
Yeah, it looks like both players are just macroing up, getting to that mid game there. Third CC, third Nexus as well, getting the upgrades, those crucial upgrades in Stim and Combat Shield. And just just macroing along for the time being.
Very nice. Yeah, we should. I think Dream is going to be the first one to kind of blink here. No pun intended. Although we do see Zoun going to be sending out a little bit of a hit squad with Blink. Obviously, you do want those stalkers out on your opponent's side of the map. Dream going to be trying to chase them down, but gets the Cyclone killed in the process. Really good blinks as well. He only just now losing one of those stalkers, and he doesn't have concussive shells, so he can't chase super effectively.
Yeah, it does get 2 stalkers though, so not too bad of a pick off, but does of course lose that Cyclone. In the meantime, what does Zoun has right now? He's getting some additional stalker warpins. These infantry units, these bio units are stimming a bit much, so he's gonna have to be careful not to just overstim and just lose to the blink stalkers.
You can't really chase too far into this right now. Not with the amount of bio that he has. Not without some sort of a splash. But you know, he is gonna keep engaging the stalkers. Probably just try and mitigate the pickoffs there. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't see either of them really making a solid committed push anytime soon.
Yeah, this Dream is like testing the waters, trying to find if there's any kind of pathway to kind of fly his units over. But smartly, Zoun has parked the Phoenix onto the right side, so we'll spot any attempted flybys. In the meantime, just clearing out these rocks, you know, creating another pathway, which is always great.
Indeed. Here we go. The first big engagement. The Zealots starting to get a lot of room here. Widowmine shots. Not going to get the best of connections there, but he does clean up the Zealots in the front. And that does mean the Stalkers are very vulnerable. There are so many Marauders here. So now Zoun's going to have to rely on those Warpins. He's down over 22 supply. And that deficit is actually growing quite substantially. He's even just willing to fight in front of those Zealots here, trying to bait the Widowmine shots out so that they don't touch the Stalkers. But, I mean, Dream is on the warpath right now. He wants to keep this going, although he is going to wisely kind of back off and not overextend.
Yeah, I mean, he does got the 1-1 upgrade lead as well, and he's fighting against a mainly gateway heavy unit army composition. And when you're the Protoss and you have mostly gateway units and you're behind on army supply, that's never a great place to be as the Protoss.
Now keep in mind, like, a lot of these fights have actually just been him cleaning up the Zealots. So, I mean, the Zealots are technically doing their job. It's a very expensive job. I'm a little worried about this move here. He's gonna have to be careful with this Doom drop in the main base. Gonna lose a medevac there as well. But there you go, shield battery overcharges popped. Still gonna get the Immortal, to heck with it. And yeah, he's just gonna fight this straight up, actually.
Yeah, but he's got another army here to contend. The left side army is cleaning up. Oh, actually, nice recall.
No, that was the worst recall ever. Losing the Immortal. It looked good for a second there, until it actually happened.
Yeah, he probably should have recalled his more army there, but just too much there, and Dream will take the series lead 2-1.
You gotta be careful. This is where it starts to kind of snowball. He's one game away from going up to match point. And yeah, Zoun's gotta be very... No, this is not a best of 7, this is a best of 9. So he's 2 games away from match point.
Yeah. So of course all Alpha Pro series are a best of 9, which
I went to public school. I can't count.
What is math?
Baby, don't hurt me.
No more. All right, looks like game number 4 is going to take place on a light shade. Let's see if Zoun can pick up a win here, type the series. But Dream winning
2 in a row.
Yeah, 2 in a row. Has a nice little momentum happening there.
Yeah. like to remind you guys as well, if you love this series, go ahead and check out matcherino.com. The link is in the description because you can add a free 50 cents to the prize pool just by typing in APS229. What's a free? It's free. It's money. It's good. You don't get the free money, but they get the free money. And so they're going to be pretty happy about that. And, I mean, speaking of people who are very happy about that, spawning down here in the top position. Oh no, I was spawning down here in the top position because it's a top-down game. He is Zoun or Zoun.
And spawning here at the bottom right corner of the map, it is the red Terran player playing for Good Game Gaming, hailing from Korea. Give it up for Dream. Oh, what do we have here? Okay, maybe it's just a safety probe, just to scan off if there's any proxies.
He's nervous, definitely.
Yeah. This is, of course, one of the maps that has a little cliff area where the Reapers can jump in and out of. So just want to make sure there's no shenanigans happening.
Indeed, indeed. You know, I think this is a map that we see a lot of proxies out of Terrans as well. They kind of feel a little bit more confident doing so. Now we do have the scouting SCV. It looks like we'll have to keep an eye on it to see if it does go home, because there's a chance that he tries to go for Hellions again. I think Proxy Starport just over there by the third base is one, but Proxy Stargate is always in style, and the big cheesy Book of Protoss. So yeah, good stuff. Here we go, Joan.
Yeah, so of course, I'm gonna predict this is gonna be a Stargate proxy. This is a really common place to proxy them. But the Reaper, is it gonna actually scout it? Nope.
No, and that's why it's beautiful. It's because the Reaper doesn't actually have a clue unless you get a wrong count in the main base. You want to see 3 pylons. That's the magic number. You don't see that, you start scouting like a madman. And Dream, he's just going to skip that step and just going to go see it for himself.
Yeah, I mean, usually Protoss will place a pylon, their pylon at the natural, but seeing that there was no pylon at the natural, I think Dream was like, yeah, there's something a little fishy here. I'm going to go ahead and scout around, and he does scout that proxy Stargate.
Beautiful. So now he's going to be perfectly safe. I don't see him taking any damage to this whatsoever.
Yeah, immediately throwing down that tech lab on the factory, so we should see a Cyclone popping out really soon.
Oracle production has started. We do see Stalkers in the background. Now, that's actually pretty gas intensive for him. That's going to slow down his tech follow-up just a little bit here. It may not seem like it, but seconds are going to count when he does decide to quit using his Stargate. But here we go. Let's see what the Oracle can do. There's no Widowmine trap. It's literally just this one Cyclone. But we do see the third base. Oh, I love that.
Oh man, this Oracle not getting anything done. Not even one SCV. And just barely making it out.
Alright. So yeah, with this third CC, Dream is just trying to cut off the Protoss advantage of they usually get the third Nexus first. So he's just trying to make sure that he stays ahead economically here, because three base Terran, I think that's the scariest Terran you will ever see, because it's this literal war machine that continuously pumps out units that you just can't stop. Scan gonna go down trying to get the Oracle, but it does survive by just a second. I am sure that is a Korean swear word. Almost like 60% sure.
Might be. Unfortunately, we do not read Korean here, so someone's gonna have to translate in the chat. But yeah, Zoun is gonna have to definitely save that Oracle. I mean, that Oracle is so important just because he is trying to go for a, I think multiple. Wait, how many gateways is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 gate blink follow up here, and he needs vision on the high ground in order to blink in. So gotta save that Oracle, make sure not to lose it.
Yeah, and the good thing for him right now, there is no siege tanks. So he's kind of got this little bit of a window here before Stim finishes to go in and get some damage done. But that window is closing very fast here as Stim starting to complete here. Blink just about to finish as well. But I don't think he can get in anymore, actually. Like, I think the Blink was just a little bit too slow.
Yeah, I mean, he is trying to get that third base, so it's not an all-in here, but at least, at the very least, he can kind of somewhat contain Dream for the time being while he gets his third base up and running. He's not looking to, completely kill Dream with this attack. Maybe if he had like 7 gateways or something like that, then it will be a bit more committed. But only with 4 gateways, yeah, he's just gonna use these Blink Stalkers to kind of get the map vision, the map awareness, and get the somewhat of a contain on Dream.
Which is pretty good, and he's actually going to get a lot of damage done here. Oh man, even the stasis trap. I think this was spotted by Dream, and look at that, he just kites his way around it. I hope he can save that third base, otherwise this game is not going to go on for too much longer. There you go. He does save it. He's just going to fight the Stalker straight up, but unfortunately the stasis trap is going to make that an almost impossibility for him. Oh no, this has just gone from bad to worse for Dream right now. SCV's being pulled, and while he does get his units unfrozen, they are unfrozen to a world of pain and agony.
Oh man, it's always a pain to have to pull SCVs, and losing 12 to Zoun, not the greatest. Now he does have a nice upgrade lead, so if he can maybe hold on, he might be able to kind of follow up and do some make some magic happen, but that's a big if. There's still a lot of Stalkers here, but don't want to lose too many Stalkers here. Gotta be careful.
Now, I don't think this is an overcommitment from Zoun just yet, but once again, we get into that window situation. He's looking at the puppy in the window, asking how much it costs, and Dream is just like, the puppy is too strong for you, puppy seller. Trying to blend memes, it doesn't really work here, but what does work is these Stalkers getting in right on top of the third base. They will have to blink out of here, but the threat is still kind of there. They're still out on the map, and they're still getting a couple of pickoffs here and there. That's the only thing they're useful for right now, but it is so important for them. Look at that, even the scan on the fourth base. Or third, rather.
Yeah, it looks like Dream has yet to scout the fourth base so far. Zoun just continuously being aggressive here, just picking off anything he can get, and just dwindling the army little by little.
Alright, so Cybernetics Core has completed. I gotta say, I don't like this style from Protoss. It's just not super effective. He has stayed on Gateway Tech for a bit too long, and now it might look like it's starting to work here, but the Zealot's not really able to get a lot of surface damage, so they are going to start to falter here. He did kill 8 SCVs, which is nice, but you do have mules to replace them. But yeah, look at this. Dream just getting some really good fights, some good connections, and is going to be able to chase this back quite heavily here because there's no Colossi, Disruptors, nothing really to kind of stop him.
Yeah, we see, this is a kind of a play style that Australia used to play a lot of. Doing that, I guess kind of you could refer to as a swarm toss kind of play style, getting a lot of gateway units, getting a lot of bases, just earlier bases compared to your Terran opponent. But it only works if you have like overwhelming, or not overwhelming, but at least a decent army supply lead, which is not the case here, as Dream does have the supply lead, the army supply lead, as well as the upgrade lead as well. So it's not the greatest position for Zoun, but looks like he is starting to kind of transition and get some additional splash damage units in the Colossus with the thermal lance.
Now the question is it too late? Probably not, because Dream, he's not really teching up himself. He's kind of going for, I guess, the Swarm Terran, as we're only just now seeing him throw down the Ghost Academy. His Widowmine count still relatively small. He's only got 3 of them, so just now restarting Widowmine production. And I guess in tech, they're actually pretty even, all things considered. So, I wouldn't really put either player ahead or behind at this point, but Zoun just has more potential to kind of power up now, as we see the additional Colossus being thrown down with the Templar Archive.
Yeah, it looks like Dream has kind of given some wiggle room here for Zoun to just kind of get back, or at least take advantage of the economic advantage that he had earlier on. And now look at Zoun. He's almost got pretty much his half side of the base. He's like expanding like everywhere. But Dream, he is kind of splitting his units, kind of splitting into 2 army groups, trying to take advantage of the mobility that his army provides.
Now, the question for Zoun, can he really defend multiple locations? He's going to have to rely on that shield battery to start things off. And he will have enough here, but this is a good chunk of his army. In fact, I'd say that's his entire army as his 4th base, completely undefended right now. So he is trying to rotate between the 2, doing a decent job of it so far, but you gotta be careful to leave enough gateway units to kind of buffer for the Colossus in the back. Otherwise, you are just going to bleed high-tech units that you are not going to be able to afford to remake. And for right now, he does hold, and he does push this very far back, might even just chase him all the way back home. I don't think he should, but he might.
Yeah, it's very, very possible. He does have a decent amount of Colossus, actually. 4 Colossus, getting some additional weapons. He got a nice little kind of sandwich set up here. We might actually see the end of the game right here, right now, but it's going to be really important to kind of execute this and maneuver correctly.
We got the first couple of EMPs, no Archons with this force, but the Colossus starting to fall. It is War of the Worlds, the extended edition here, but this time Mankind is not taking any of the Martians' crap. The Zealot's going to get some good buffer, going to make a good buffer here. The Widowmine's doing a little bit more harm than good, but at the end of the day, Zoun down over 40 supply there. He did kill off a ton of SCVs, but now Dream might have the chance to kind of get that killing blow.
This is it.
There's not really that much left.
Yeah, this is it. If Dream does not break Zoun now, it's going to get much, much difficult, nearly impossible with the worker deficit. So he is going to have to make this attack a counter. And here we go.
Oh no, disruptors. Okay, that was a little bit painful, but I think with the EMPs, he is still able to kind of take this fight effectively. The Robo Facility is still not mining anything, and that is the last of Zoun's army. A little bit of fancy micro, not going to save these Colossus. I think we should be seeing the tap out here in just a couple of seconds as Dream goes up 3 games to 1. What an incredible turnaround here from game number 1. It looked so much more even as the series went on.
Yeah, it's still a best of 9 series, so anything can still happen. But yeah, I think Dream is feeling pretty good right now, winning or possibly winning 3 games in a row. I say possibly, but I think right now, yep, that's a decisive GG, and Dream will go up 3-1.
What a way to kind of keep the series going. We did Pillars of Gold already, right?
Yeah, the first game was Pillars of Gold. So Zoun's going to have to choose a different map here. But yeah, some really nice play coming out of Dream. That map is sometimes can bring out some pretty nutty games. And being in the economic deficit that he was in, being behind I think 30 or so workers, he needed to really, really make that attack worth it. And he did. He managed to pull it off. And Zoun just throwing too much units during that fight.
Zoun just says, "Oh," in the chat. That's pretty funny.
All right,
But yeah, I mean, you know, we start to get to that point where players have the potential to start snowballing a little bit once you win the 3 games. It's really on Zoun right now, and I'm trying to pronounce his name right, guys. I apologize if I'm not doing so. I'm actually making an effort, which is more than I can say about most of my casting. But yeah, it's up to him to really turn the tide back in his favor, and he's got quite a big ground to work with here in order to make that happen, that little bit of a comeback.
Yeah, we'll see if he does. Anyhow, this game, it will be on Jagannatha, and here we go.
Indeed. Let's introduce our boy up here. Representing the dragon, he is Zoun.
And spawn here at the bottom left corner of the map. Playing for Good Game Gaming. Make some noise for Dream.
You know what? We need to find a player named Hack so that we can put them together and just make them the best 2v2 team in the world.
We can introduce them as DreamHack, you know?
Introducing DreamHack Katowice 2021.
Exactly.
But yeah, you know, we do see Zoun going for a bit of a scout here. This is kind of that annoying probe that, once again, you love to see on ladder. I'm joking. This is terrible. If you Protoss players do this, I am going to cheese you all day. And still lose, but still. But yeah, you know, he's just going to come in here, get a little bit of information, not really too much to see. He just wants to make sure that there's no such thing as a fast factory, hidden double racks. Just kind of keeping to the standard timings here, and now he's actually just going to annoy Dream even more.
Yep, that probe was born to be annoying. And we'll go ahead and go home very proud of itself.
You know, I gotta wonder if they just put that into the code, because obviously the probes are robots. So do you think they just write in the programming, annoy Terran, cannon rush here?
Well, to be fair, I mean, they're not technically robots. They're more like an alien race of some sort, similar to, I guess, Zerg. But yeah, it might be in their programming to just do that. Come in there.
I thought the probes were indeed robots, like little robot drones.
You know what? I mean, they kind of look like it. Yeah, I could see how someone would think they're little robot drones.
We'll get into lore a lot later here. Dream gonna be going for Hellions like he did in game number 1. Now this is a much larger map, so this is way hard to scout, but already Zoun is going to get a pretty nice connection here. Gonna deny the CC for just a little bit, and although it does get up, now this Adept has full information that is indeed Hellions, and that tells you so much. Like, it's a really big tell.
Yeah, that allows you to kind of get your wall up and start, positioning your army in the correct areas. I mean, this is a big, large main base. So you definitely want to go ahead and start posting or creating pylons on the outskirts, or at the very least, just kind of park your army at the edges of the bases, which it looks like Zoun is doing right now.
Right. So yeah, he does complete the wall. Nice stuff. The probe will risk its life for it, but this is kind of just a feint to draw the army away. Keep in mind that it is Blink as a follow-up here. Kind of an interesting placement there. He might lose the medevac if he's not careful, but not before getting massive amounts of approach damage. You really do need to sync up your shots for this, as it requires 3 to tango here. But unfortunately, not the best connections to finish out. So he's only going to get 4 probes. Ouch. Started promising though.
Yeah, I mean, 4 Hellions for 5 probes. I'm sure he probably wanted a bit more probes than that, but anyhow, it looks like that kind of allows Zoun to kind of retake map control here and start putting on his counter pressure. Blink is almost done, so he has blink potential there, blink micro potential against Dream, which doesn't really have too much.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of one of the things about that is you do kind of delay yourself a little bit to make that work. And even this, look at that, the bunker, just not really that useful as it is stationary. So he's just going to get that fresh mule and back on out. And this is one of those things. This is not an aggressive blink. This is just a, I'm in your face. I'm going to be here for a while. Do not move out of your base. And I mean, it's working. Dream is set up very defensively right now.
Yeah.
But off the back of this, Colossus. Beautiful.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, you know what? He knows that he defended the early, Hellion drop pretty well, pretty decently. And because of that, he knows that Dream doesn't really have that much on the ground to, follow up with some aggression. So he knows that Dream is going to play defensively for the time being, and that allows him to get his third base up, allows him to get his Colossus tech up, and not really have to invest into a lot of stalkers because he knows that he's not going to get attacked anytime soon. So he can just play a little bit greedy here.
And as for Dream,
oh.
he gets caught. Oh man, was passing notes in class, and the principal caught him right there. So now he is just going to have to kind of play it a little bit more defensively. I think after the scare of almost losing your first drop, that's kind of when Terrans start to say, okay, I can't do that again. Now I'm not going to move out. I'm just going to play defensively. And as I say that, I cast a curse here. He's going to be going for another drop to the other side. But yeah, I mean, we should be seeing his first real big move out when he starts to throw down his third base. I think that's really the optimal time to do so, as your opponent's not going to have the optimal army composition. But yeah, here we go. Zoun, once again, looking for trouble. Might find it this time.
Or will he? Oh, just barely.
Oh, no.
That's a little unfortunate, but you know what? He's still got pretty decent amount of army here parked into the outside the natural with the 2 Colossus. So I don't see this, these little bow units, this group here, doing too much damage. But that follow-up army, though, that's a different.
Oh no, he caught the stalkers. And now there's really no buffer for these Colossus right now. They do get a couple of good connections off right now. Dream not focus firing them down, so his attack has been incredibly weakened. He will have to back on out of there. Charge is complete as well, so the Zealot's going to be able to kind of dive on top of this. So that was almost really bad for Zoun, and he really saved it, even adding in the Zealot run by for just nail in the coffin there.
Yeah, he must be breathing a sigh of relief because he was in a pretty awkward positioning where his Colossus was getting sandwiched a bit. And luckily for him, he did get the reinforcements to join up, and that forced the sandwich to disengage, and was able to save all 3 of his Colossus. I mean, that is the bulk, or that's the brunt of his army right there. Those thermal lance are just going to be really, really helpful during the engagement against what Dream has.
Indeed. Now Dream is taking the army supply lead. He's taking the overall supply lead, and he is taking a very heavy economy lead as well. We do see Zoun going to be trying to trying to clean him up just a little bit with a bit of a run by. He's going to have to rely on the reinforcements to kind of save himself here. Will he have enough is the big question, as it doesn't look like it, as he's just being brought home, as Zoun going to be going straight towards that third, and this is a very scary push once again, although Dream, my man, going for a Doom drop.
Oh, but he is going to get...
Losing the Doom drop.
Yeah, he's going to get greeted by a bunch of Blink Stalkers, but just not quite enough. He's going to go ahead and force the recall. This should be enough now.
Yeah, there you go. He does clean it up, Dreams. Again, we get into this situation where Dream has just bled out over 30 supply in a couple of seconds here. It may not seem like a lot. It may seem a little bit more equal, but if he keeps doing this, it's going to be so bad for him.
Yeah,
and he's still taking a lot of damage to these Zealot run-bys.
Oh no, that is unfortunate. Oh, nice Widow Mine those. We'll clean up the bulk of it. So not too bad. Not too bad of cleanup. Now it looks like Dream is going once again for that 3 medevac drop. It does. The observer does scout this, but was Zoun paying attention? It does not look like it. He is focused on the front at the natural of Dream.
Oh no, please tell me this does not turn into a base race. You should never base race a Terran, but it looks like Zoun missed that part of esports school, as we do see in the main base, Dream is going to be taking down all the pylons, trying to kind of make sure that there's no additional warp-ins to stop him, while Dream is going to be defending very well up here. He's got a decent concave up at the top of the ramp. There's no force field energy left on those sentries, so they're not going to be that useful in the fight. Now, keep in mind, both players are very heavily supply blocked, but you still have the floating buildings for Dream, so he can plop those down anywhere he wants, while it's going to come down to basically how fast can Zoun make additional pylons to fix himself here. But you know, actually this is looking pretty good for Zoun. Maybe.
Yeah, he still needs to clean up the main base here, and a lot of his charge lot is getting dwindled down here. 3 Colossus are strong, but without any buffer, they're not that strong. Does he have enough? It's so close.
It's those reinforcements. That's the big issue for him. Even though Dream does have a little bit of a supply deficit, he's still killing off the Nexus, just trying to make sure that there's no recall. So Zoun is going to have to walk home. Now, both players are not supply blocked anymore. That's not for making new supply depots or pylons. That's simply because they've literally killed each other's entire armies. But now with the medevacs, you can kill off a lot of these probes and then back up, get on out of there, and go hit another location. Even though he does lose one, there wasn't really that many units in it. So now he can just continuously hit these locations, and he's still kind of producing. Just a little bit.
Yeah, the problem with Zoun is all his gateways are unpowered, so he needs to repower them in order to make any units. Look at the bank he has. He can't even use that because he doesn't have any production buildings. And now he's trying to clean this up while there is the drop coming down to the left side at the same time.
I think that was a little bit of a mistake by Dream, just a little bit too aggressive here. And now this one, he's going to force a relatively large Zealot warp-in, but his supply is starting to dwindle, and even though he's getting little bits of damage on the probes, he's not touching the army anymore. He is literally trading units for probes, and at this stage, you can't afford to do that. You're pretty much going to lose if you do that.
Yeah, now all really Zoun has to do is just kind of sit back and just extend his lead. I mean, we heard that phrase, when ahead, get more ahead, and that's exactly what Zoun should be doing. He's got more bases, he's got more army, he's got more workers. not quite doing well, or well in the upgrade. But I mean, the upgrades don't really matter as much because Dream doesn't have the army to kind of utilize that upgrade lead.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, almost double the armor supply, just getting Shadow Stride as well. Have we actually re-stabilized into a semi-mid game?
It's
Probably
little-
not, but you know.
But I gotta say, I love this decision by going for DTs, because right now Dream doesn't have a lot of orbitals to work off of, and with the little orbitals that he has, he's throwing down meals to kind of get that economy rolling, and that's gonna mean less energy for scans. And yeah, I just really like the choice to go for DTs in this situation right here that they find themselves in.
And keep in mind, we do have the missile turret coming down, so that's going to help out a little bit. But if you can kind of snipe those, you're right. He's just dropping mules like an absolute Chad right now. And, he can't really afford not to, as he is falling behind heavily in terms of every single bit of supply. It's pretty much just bio units right now. Marines, Marauders, a couple of additional medevacs. He can't really afford to make anything else, and even now losing 6 additional workers. I don't know where that's happening, but what's happening right now is Dream is going for it once again.
All right, once again, getting on top of the production buildings. Looks like Zoun is going to go ahead and force the majority of his army back at home. Can he get the snipe on these medevacs?
Ooh. Does not get a full one.
Oh. But they're kind of a little bit on range, yeah.
They're in range. Oh, no. Oh, no. That is almost GG if he loses those.
Now they're just stuck. Imagine if Terran has recall. That would be such a helpful spell right now.
Yeah, and the DTs actually shut down mining completely at this location. So now, Dream not mining anything. I think Zoun, he's pretty much done it. It's pretty much just filing the paperwork. I think he just lost all of those medevacs. Oh my god, that was bad.
Yeah, now Zoun is going to clean it up, which means only down to 2 medevacs out on the field. That's a pretty small and sad army right there for the Terran.
And like you said, win ahead, just get even more ahead. And that's exactly what he's doing here. But I don't think you can get any more ahead than he is right now if you don't just go across the map and kill him. Like, that's the only way you can even get any more ahead right now.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for Dream to hold on here. I mean, that Protoss ball is looking pretty scary. Even got a sentry there to get the Guardian Shield up. And oh my god, look at those those DTs are like ready to pounce and get on top of these bow units. And there we go, blink in, and GG. Zoun will go ahead and add to his points and get to 2-3. Still behind, but still a good win there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it would have been really hard or tough for him to go down 4-1. So definitely a good pickup there, making sure that it's a bit closer series heading into the 6th game. Now I think we have Oxide and Romanticide left before the map resets, and it looks like
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think Oxide and Pillars of Gold are the same map. Unpopular opinion.
I mean, the color schemes doesn't look quite the same, but I guess maybe the layout.
Yeah. Sal, please. I don't know what that means. All right, but yeah, we are going to be hopping onto Oxide. That does mean if Joe, we do have a confirmed game number 8, because this is game number 6. Yeah, math.
Yep.
Eventually, I'll get it, but yeah, So yeah, let's head into game number 6 here. Introduce these lovely gentlemen who have agreed to battle to the death for our entertainment. And without further ado, spawning in the bottom position of Oxide, he is our dragon Alpha X, Zoun.
And spawning here at the top right corner of the map. He's the red Terran player, representing Good Game Gaming. Make some noise for Dream.
Right, so we're starting to get a little bit later on into the series, and this is where every single win starts to matter more and more. If Dream wins this, then he's one game away from finishing you off. So I think you're gonna have to start fighting like a animal in a corner as Joan. So let's see what he can pull out here. Good start.
Yeah, I think with a win here though on the other side for Zoun, tying up the series, that's gonna put some bit of pressure here on Dream. With Zoun kind of going on a 2-game win streak, it gets tight and heavy, as you said, as this series progresses. Interestingly enough, no crazy cheeses yet still in this series. We'll of course keep a eye out for that to see if any of these players decides to kind of cheese a little bit on the 7th, 8th, or 9th game.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that sometimes the players do kind of just take this as an extended practice session with money involved. So sometimes they will just kind of play it off with a lot of their standard normal builds, just so they're kind of hiding things for the more large money pools like DreamHack and Pro Tour, etc., etc. But sometimes we just get those players who are like, "To heck with it! I want the money. Give me the money," and go crazy here. Now Dream, he's got a little interesting build right here: a modified 2-1-1 into 3 command center. I love this build, but I also hate this build, depending on what Joan sees and how he reacts.
Yeah, I am not quite a fan of this build, specifically on this map, only because that means you're not going to have the quick medevacs for those bow units. So if he is deciding, or if he's looking to kind of go across the map to attack, on this map it's a bit difficult only because of the layout. It's kind of a zigzaggy map, so you don't actually quite reach your base or your opponent's base quite as fast as compared to, let's say, Submarine. But it looks like he's just going to use this as a defensive maneuver here, just to make sure he has enough bow units, enough Marines to hold off and stray away from any aggression that Zoun can potentially put on him. So yeah, it looks like it's just going to be a defensive play.
No, you say that. We definitely do see Joan kind of getting the perfect counter build to this. Like, when you do kind of suspect something like this, you do kind of English is only my first language. I should be able to make at least one sentence, but you kind of have to go a little bit more aggressive because you do have the opportunity to push a little harder. That being said, Dream is just going to hit a really crisp timing, even just going to forego the medevacs to hit even faster, and this will be enough to cancel this third base at the very least, and will get him some time up in the natural before Blink is complete.
Alright, does force the cancel, so nice little pick up there for a Dream, and so Dream is going to go ahead and stem. There's actually no shield battery here, and Zoun looking to be in a bit of trouble.
Oh man, this is really Dream's dream fight here, as he's gotten 4 probes and a ton of the gateway units. So now Now any kind of attack that Joan was about to go for, and you could kind of see he was ready to move out, is now delayed. It's going to be a lot less powerful. Just literally everything went wrong there for him.
Yeah, Dream catching Zoun with his pants down. And now it's up to Zoun to kind of find some damage, some sort of damage to kind of even it up. He does got the Blink Stalkers, he's got the Observer for high ground vision, but does he have enough Stalkers to do any damage? Looks like he only has a puny 5 Stalkers out on the field. Maybe with his Warp Prism though, he can get some Warpins of Charge Lot and kind of go in once Dream moves out with his army, but he's definitely going to need to find some sort of economic damage.
Yeah, I mean, if you just take a look at that income graph for a second there, it is literally so red that it would make sense to be in the Soviet Union right now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Joan, he's just trying to be a nuisance because that's all he can be. Again, he only has gateway units right now. He is going up to. Oh my god, a little banter going on. This is the thing I love about these players. Like a lot of them are good friends, so even in the middle of a pitched battle for dominance, they will find time to just kind of rib each other.
Yeah, over the years, I'm sure they kind of played against one another multiple times. So once you play multiple times against one another, you kind of get more comfortable in terms of trash talking or silly banters.
Were they actually on the same team? I feel like these two have actually been on the same team, but I digress. They're definitely not right now, as we see a small Zealot warp in the main base. The reinforcement is going to help out to clean that up, but he will actually kill off the Warp Prism. That is beautiful there for Dream, because that just mitigates. That's just one less thing he has to worry about. Although he is losing quite a few workers here, if I do say so, because where's his army actually? It's kind of playing Ring Around the Rosie, pocket full of dead SEVs.
Yeah, no, the thing about expanding towards where Dream expanded to with his third base is that drops are actually a bit more annoying, as you can kind of dance around the main and the third a bit more easier. So Zoun taking plenty of advantage of that, and now it looks like Dream is going to go for a counterattack. Let's see if Zoun can hold off and stabilize here.
Yeah, he does have a little bit of AoE, and that Guardian Shield popping is going to help out quite a bit. The Widowmines do clean up a lot of the Zealots in the front, however. Looks like he's just going to dive right on top of the Colossus, but beautiful Warp Prism Micro just going to save that. Very nice here, and that was actually a terrible fight for Dream, I feel, because now he is pushed back. He did get the Warp Prism though, so that is one of the key things for this defense.
I gotta say, Zoun got pretty lucky there. I have no idea why he wanted to fight out in the middle of nowhere where there's so much surface area to be had for Dream to get on top of the Colossus. He got saved. He got to count his lucky stars that the Warp Prism arrived just in time and was able to turn that fight around.
And now Dream, he still has a very robust economy right now. He's pumping out a ton of units. Even going to add in the Vikings, now pulling the SCVs to try and just keep this fight going. The Widowmine's not able to get their shots off, and that is deadly for him right now. But yeah, it just comes down to these Zealots. He can't break through them. Every time he finally cleans them up, the next wave is already there. Did he just get both of those Colossus though?
Yeah, he did. So that's a nice pick up there. No splash damage. It's basically gateway units. Oh man, these Stalkers blink into a place where they're not able to retreat, and oh no.
Oh, I mean, he was forced to do that. He had to kill off that Viking before the Warp Prism fell. It fell anyway, but And now we're at the 10-minute mark. And we're actually only on 180 supply total. So that is really funny to see. This is such a scrappy game from these two players.
Yeah, but I love where Dream is at right now. He's got the upgrade advantage. He's got the army advantage. There's not a lot of high tier units here for Zoun. A lot of his Colossus got, picked off during that fight. And Dream is 3 bases versus 3 base. If Zoun had a 4th base right now up and running, I would say, okay, maybe he has a chance. But right now, when you're in even bases and also pretty much almost even workers, that's not a great situation to be when you're the Protoss.
Oh, definitely not, especially not when you're down double the army supply. Oh my goodness. He doesn't even have any upgrades either, and that's just the sad thing for him. Now, keep in mind, Dream is a little bit delayed in getting his +2, but that's just because he's pumping out an absolute metric ton of bio. So he pretty much can do whatever he wants on this map. I think Zoun, I'm not saying that he's lost, because we've seen Dream do some crazy things that have really thrown the game. But I think this is still Dream's game to lose.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree.
And here we go. We will get the cancel on that 4th base. That never really had a chance. We got a Doom drop just kind of hanging out in the main base here. Just wait. The Stalkers are waiting to pounce on that. But now the supply block is real for Zoun. The Colossus is going to try and bait this army forward, but he's just doing everything he can to be very patient here. He wants a Dream to be the one to make the first move, and unfortunately for him, the move was right into his undefended main base. So many probes dead, so many Stalkers being forced back in. I don't think those Zealots are ever going to be able to get a good positioning to deal with that. And this is looking like the beginning of the end here, even though he does clean up this army at the 3rd.
Yeah, however, not quite finished yet here in the main base. But even if he does, even if Zoun cleaned this up, Zoun has lost 19 probes here. That's I mean, you could survive, but at what cost, right?
Yeah, not to mention, he just doesn't have an army at all. That was his army. That wasn't just a fraction of it. That was the whole 9 yards. And it's still a relatively low econ game, but losing these units, that's almost it. The Widowmines actually got a huge connection in the back as well. So Dream going up to match point. Really solid, really scrappy game, but I gotta say, that's the kind of game you want to start to end a series on.
And that's a game that is a treat for us. Always great to see those kind of back and forth action-packed games, and that was definitely it. And now, Dream just one game away from clinching the series, and more importantly, he does halt the momentum of Zoun. As you recall, Zoun was on a 2-game win streak, and now Dream just go ahead and halts that momentum, and now picks up basically another point to go for match points in this best of 9 series.
We do get the go here, although it's in Korean. Google Translate is our friend here. And now this is map number 7. Remember, don't remember anything because I forgot what I was remembering.
Basically, the map resets after this. If it goes to
if Zoun wins.
Yeah, basically if Zoun wins.
It's basically a best of 3 at this point, I believe.
All right, so series is 4-2, right? Is it 2?
Yep, 4-2.
All right,
game number 7. And speaking of game number 7, this guy has got to get all the 7s in his lucky bid to come back into this game. He is, for Alpha X, make some noise, Zoun.
And spawning here at the top left, you see red Terran player looking to close out the series. Can he do it? Give it up for Dream.
And also, during that break, I actually found a little tidbit. They all were on the same team. They were both on SK Telecom
Okay.
back in 2015.
Nice. That's a good little tidbit there, right there.
Yeah, it means absolutely nothing for this match, but you know, it's fun to see that these players have been on the same team before. Now mortal enemies.
Well, it does explain a little bit of why they're a little. I guess they may be trash talking a little bit, or bantering a little bit. They're very comfortable around one another as they've known each other for years. So good to know.
Oh, most definitely. And another fun fact for you, Zoun is currently, I believe, they said he was the youngest player in GSL last season. Uh, I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I saw a Team Liquid interview, so it must be true. But you know what else is true? We've got a probe going to hide a proxy Stargate on that side of the map. Either that or he's just scouting.
Yeah.
Maybe just scouting.
Yeah, or maybe just sightseeing. You know, it's always nice to sit around and just like take in the view. This is a beautiful, beautiful view right here. Very purplish map here.
Indeed. All right. Sushi shut me down. Okay.
Wait, what happened?
Nah, Sushi shut me down in chat.
Oh.
My trivia is bad. Never pick me on pub trivia night. Yeah, what I love this play from Dream. Just this very risky but very worthwhile economic 3cc build has just done him wonders, and this is pretty much a if it ain't broke don't fix it kind of deal, because he's doing the same sort of timing as the last game. Now the difference is that it is Stargate for Zoun, so that's a little bit of a difference, but still, this is a timing that can be very rapid and very difficult to stop. Oh my goodness, if it's Phoenix, I feel like this is even worse for Zoun, because you need a couple of additional Phoenix to deal with it, and that's very expensive.
I would have really loved to see him go for Oracles, just because right now there's not a lot of defense here in the mineral line against the Oracles. I mean, these Marines had to stay in the front to deal with these Adepts. The Oracle could have very easily just went on to the backside and just get on top of those SCV in the mineral lines. And there's really nothing that Dream could have done. I mean, he doesn't have any factory to make any Cyclones. He doesn't have any Widow Mines. So just kind of unfortunate with the missed opportunity.
Yeah, so now, you know, Zoun, he did scout the number of Marines. He knows that's not a healthy number for Iraqs to be popping out. So he knows that there's that additional Iraqs. He knows that there's going to be a sort of timing coming his way soon, and that soon is right the heck now.
Oh no.
The Marines come marching in one by one. Hurrah, hurrah.
There's no shield battery as well in the natural, so I mean, if these Phoenix can get sight, okay, that is a good first sighting. He's gonna have to definitely warp in some units, maybe throw down a shield battery of some sort, or maybe just go ahead and try to rely on these Adepts. These Adepts are actually pretty good against Marines, as they do extra damage against light units. Oh no!
Oh, no, but it's the stim that puts the Marines over the top, and now the Phoenix can be focus fired down. They are the only defense right now. They do get a couple of graviton shift helping out just a little bit, but this is the problem with going Phoenix. He's gonna lose everything on the ground. The probes are pulled, and while this won't kill him, it is definitely for the races as this one guy tries to get home desperately.
Oh man, this Marine's trying to make the most out of his life, but will eventually go down right about now.
Okay, so that was actually really good damage, because that slows down, once again, any sort of aggression that Zoun's going to do. He killed off a ton of Phoenix, and which means that you have to remake them, which is going to slow down your tech choice. Because remember, you only want about 5 to 6 Phoenix before transitioning. Okay, he does have the Robo Bay though, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good, but again, you have to remake the Phoenix.
Yeah, definitely could have been faster. He could have gotten those gases to start getting thermal lance as well as the Colossus. Now he is right now got his Phoenix across the map, but he's gonna have to deal with this group of infantry very soon.
Yeah, now he does have a little bit more going for him here. He's got force fields available, but already that's a really fast pickoff of the first adept. He's gonna go straight for the probe line, just trying to sacrifice this and get as much damage done as possible. And I think he's doing a pretty good job of it. But you gotta kind of stop doing it now because you're just gonna keep getting diminishing returns.
Yeah, I don't like how he just kind of just carelessly just sent his probes back to mining. He needed to probably pull it towards the shield battery and then like clean up the Marines first before sending it back. That allowed Dream to kind of focus fire on those probes and getting unnecessarily losing unnecessarily 8 probes to that attack and making very good, you know, value trades there for Dream. And now Zoun is just getting slowly but surely kind of going backwards here, but maybe he can catch this little bit of group of army here in the middle. Oh, but the reinforcement comes down.
Yeah, this is just buying time for Joan right now. He does see the lift up, so that's going to be pretty important to get your units in position. If Dream loses these, I swear I will eat a hat. Not my hat, just a random hat.
That's definitely not gonna taste good, but let's see. Let's see here. There's actually no Phoenix here to greet him. There's no observer to even spot this or any proxy scouting pylons, but all these Phoenixes just goes the wrong way, unfortunately. Oh man.
By the way, he doesn't have a recall. He already used his recall. Oh, you could get the extended thermal lance. Well, he is going to slow that down, so that means those Colossus nowhere near as effective as they could be, and he's just going to dive right on top of them. Joan is losing so much of that army. The force fields, though, messing with the AI of these units pretty heavily. Going to help out just a little bit. But again, there's just way too much here. And as he loses that Colossus, GG is called.